All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Don't Feed the Animals podcast. I'm your host, as always, and with me is a new, very fantastic, vulnerable rant, if you will. Something that's been on my mind, stuff that's been on my mind, things that have been in my mind. You ever notice how something small can open up a door in your head to a life you never lived? Like you pass a liquor store, hear a song, suddenly you're back in a version of yourself that doesn't exist. Married to the person you almost married. Still with the one who almost stuck around. Or maybe you're imagining a person who still lingers. The one you'd move states with if things worked out. It's like your brain has its own streaming service in the What If tab, and it keeps playing previews of shows that never got made. And honestly, some of those shows shouldn't have gotten greenlit in the first place. The What If tab in my head has better production value than half of Netflix originals. I'll tell you that much. That's on me. And I'll tell it to you straight up. This isn't a self-help podcast. I know a lot of people have been listening, and I'm not giving 3-step answers or bullet points. This isn't advice. This is just me sitting in that reflective, vulnerable state, like I said, trying to figure it all out as I go. If you've ever even been in that space, you know how raw it feels. It's like not polished. It's not even all that comfortable, but it's honest. And maybe that's enough. The thing about those previews is they're always perfect. Remember that. Hunky-dory, soft lit. Because the brain doesn't bother with the mess. It doesn't show you the arguments at midnight or the way bills would stack up in a relationship. It just shows you a world that if you'd only stayed, everything would be smooth. But deep down, you know better. You know that every relationship has its cracks. It's just easier to replay the highlight reel of the road you didn't take. And that right there, that's what makes it dangerous. The what if trap. You can lose whole nights imagining how different life would be if one person stayed. What you didn't see is how different you'd be too. You're not the same person now as the version of you in that memory. You lived more, lost more, you've grown more. So those timelines aren't just fantasies about them. They're fantasies about a version of you that doesn't exist anymore either. These are coming from a perspective of somebody who is probably single and thinking about things. Maybe you're with somebody and thinking about things, but you're just thinking about things and you're in this space. And I'm just trying to frame it a little bit better. But still, I've noticed something about people I've let into my life. And maybe you've seen it too. The pattern, sometimes you have a pattern and you don't catch it at first. And you didn't sit there saying, here I go again. But later though, when the smoke clears, you realize it's a lot of them carry that same energy. Like the victim mindset. Like the life against me attitude and something in me. And maybe people like me and keeps leaning towards that. And maybe because I think love can fix that type of feeling, that if I love hard enough and if I stay long enough, I can pull someone out of that hole. But what I've realized, stepping out of that love mindset and more into the logic. The truth is that hole isn't mine to climb out of. And every single time I try, I end up buried in it too. And that's because when you give and give to someone who's committed to staying kind of the victim, and I don't mean a victim in a very like, I mean it as a role, not as like an invalidation to something bad that has happened to said person. It's more like that is the reason, the anchor to the excuses. It's this. That's why I say victim. But like I said, because when you give to them those, and you're committed to, and they're very committed to staying that victim, eventually turns into resentment. You resent them for not trying, and they resent you for trying too much. And that's how the story goes. And there is where it gets real. I don't know how to love halfway. I don't have a dimmer switch. And some people do. Some people can like ease back, keep it casual, and like ration their caring. It's hard for me. It's not for me. It's very disingenuous for me to not just kind of let people know where I'm at with them. As you mature though, you kind of figure out a little bit more what's appropriate to express, just because you're not a child, and you know how to process things, and you also know that feelings are fleeting. They come and go, and they change, and they it's very, does not mean much, but like once you're in with me, and when someone I've loved pops back into my life, even for a second, it's like a whole damn system like just fires back on, like the beginning of this podcast intro. It's just like boots up. It's not a flicker, it's not a spark, it's like full blast. And maybe that sounds like a red flag to some people, and it probably is, but to me it's not a weakness. It's proof that my love, like personally, isn't cheap. You don't just throw it away like loose change, It doesn't expire because time has passed. It's still there, waiting, whether I want to be or not, And the older I get, like I said, the more I realize it's not me that's too much. It's that most people are playing at half volume, and I refuse to play that way. If someone like me came with a warning label, right? And I everyone has one. It might read something like loves deeply, hard to switch off, handle with care. Yeah. Not exactly the kind of label you'd slap on a dating profile, though. Like, swipe left on floodlights. And that's not a joke. That's not me trying to be poetic, but it's me being honest about how I'm built. And maybe you hear that and think, yeah, that's me too. Or maybe you're on the other side and you've dated someone like this, or someone who keeps showing up no matter what. Either way, you know the weight of it. But there's a catch, though. When you're built like that, people don't always know what to do with you. At first they love it, At first it feels like oxygen, like finally someone who actually gives a shit. But like over time, that intensity like sometimes can feel like pressure, you text first every day, and then suddenly they wonder like why you never do, and you stay up waiting for their call, and then they're already pulling away. you're planning a future and they still planning excuses. So you're picking out the vacation 6 months out and they're still not sure what they want to do next weekend. It's like a pattern. And that's how loyalty becomes the thing that scares them off. That's when it ends. It doesn't end clean. And for someone like me, the only real break is if the other person disappears, like completely. Cold turkey. No trace. No contact. Nada. Nothing. Because otherwise the floodlights just keep flipping back on. And that hurts, man. But maybe it's the only way I get free. The funny thing is, nobody talks about the state I'm in like right now. You know, we all talk about, because if I'm going to be a little bit more reflective, I'm talking about something I'm not in, but I've experienced. And we've all experienced, and I hope you guys have experienced it and you can relate to this conversation. And it kind of helps, because perspective does bring a lot. But the states that we were talking about, you know, like we talk about heartbreak, we talk about healing, but we don't talk about like the in-between, the stuff that really gets forgotten. And the floating is a way I could put it. The weird like middle ground where you're not devastated, you're not fine, you're not bitter, you're not healed, you're just here, and you're not even sure how you feel. And that's like okay, because that's not the weakness. It's the system is recalibrating. That's what not knowing feels like. It's not heartbreak, but it's also not healing. It's just it's like the free trial period where you don't know if you'll even want the subscription. Or maybe it's like waiting in an airport with no boarding time. You're not flying yet. You're not leaving. You're just kind of stuck at the gate, staring at the screen, waiting for something to change. And everybody else looks like they know where they're going, but you're just sitting there holding your bag, wondering, did I even pack the right things? So, I don't know. This is not an advice podcast. Just that this is my therapy right now. You guys are sitting in a therapy session, and this is like my therapy sessions because I'm the one talking way too much, entirely too much, and I don't really let my therapist speak. But I feel better afterwards because I feel like I work it all out. So what I'll bring to you is that usually when I think about this type of stuff and just think about where I'm at, I kind of challenge it in a way. So what do you do in that space? You know, I say you don't force it into categories. You don't try to fake that you're thriving. You just sit in it. You notice the what ifs when they show up. You acknowledge the floodlights when they turn back on. And then you remind yourself, this is what it means to love deeply. The cost of loyalty is that it doesn't vanish on command. If you ever felt like you cared too much, don't mistake that for weakness. It doesn't mean your love isn't cheap. It just makes it hard for you to match, you know? But that's fine. You know, it makes you rare too. Guard it though. Protect it. But don't shrink it. Don't make your heart smaller just to fit into smaller rooms. Because maybe the real road not taken isn't about X's or the almosts. Maybe it's about all the times you shrank yourself and when you didn't need to. And the only what if that actually matters is this one. What if you stop shrinking and let yourself be exactly how much you are? Thanks for listening, guys.
Don't beat the animals, signs all around. We talk a lot of junk, yeah, you vibing with us now. Build something from the ground up, yeah, we like to clown. Talk about some real stuff, yeah, something profound. It's a pleasure that you hearing us, wouldn't mess around. It's a topic of discussion worth talking that we bustin'. Put a nail in the coffin. If you love it, then you love it. If you don't mean nothing. Still bring it to the public. Y'all don't feed the animals, put them in a cage. They couldn't handle truth. We gonna bust out the gate like some cannibals. Same face, same channel, messing with the tune. A bunch of idiots stuck in one room. Can't take us serious. You love what we feeding you. I'm with the show, yeah, proceed with the interview. Local celebrity, snatch a toy from your cereal.